The Black Phone was one of my most anticipated movies of 2022. Did it deliver? Hell yes, it did. Let's talk about it.
The boogeyman's in the corner. Oh, that's a baby animal, idiot! Danger, danger! This is it. Don't get scared now.
What's going on, guys and gals, and welcome to Good Real Hunting. We're up for the good reels so you don't have to. It's your boy Brad. I'm doing a review here today for the Black Phone 2022 release coming from Scott Derrickson. It's coming out actually next Friday, but I had the privilege of seeing it last night. It was one of my most anticipated movies of 2022, and my expectations were through the roof for it. Despite all that, I left very pleased after seeing this thing. So let's get into some of the reasons why.
Would you like to see a magic trick?
The biggest thing for me with this movie was the tone and the atmosphere, right? This thing comes in with a very dark tone. You really do feel like a sense of dread in this town, it's set in the Denver area, but they do a good job of making it feel like a small, kind of isolated town set in the 70s. You can really feel that that setting as well. But really in the first act, it does such a good job of making you feel a sense of dread and paranoia in the town. Children are going missing. We don't really know why. And the whole town's kind of on edge, kind of like with Pennywise, aka It, from 2017. But I think this does a better job of keeping that dark tone. This is really what I wanted to see from It when it came out, is this dark, just kind of gritty, like, oh man, kids are going missing kind of vibe, and everybody's freaking out about it. And they did some of that in Pennywise. I call it that just so I don't have to say It and you guys get confused. But they did some of that in Pennywise and whatnot, but they ultimately made that movie really goofy, really silly. Really, it's more of a comedy at times. It's really not that scary, in my opinion. So it took away from the tone of the movie. This doesn't have that problem. This thing is dark, man. It is not afraid to go places. It goes to some crazy avenues with the characters, and I really appreciate that. That being said, it does still have some bits of really good, effective comedic relief in the movie, especially with a couple characters in particular, and it works. It's not forced. It's not out of there. It's not come out of nowhere. It's not weird. It doesn't take you out of the movie. It very much works. I would love to see what Scott Derrickson could do with something like an IP like It. I think he could work wonders with it, man. I think he's one of the best horror directors out there, and he hasn't done a lot yet. His style is very much like Mike Flanagan. He really focuses on the characters and whatnot, and that's really the next big thing for me is the characters. They're both great.
I was really starting to like you, Finny.
The two protagonists portrayed by Mason Timms and Madeline McGraw, I thought they were fantastic. Two child actors coming in here. I think they were casted perfectly. They both balance out. They both carry a large portion of the runtime for the movie in their own separate kind of storylines, and they really do a good job of keeping you compelled. And the first act does a great job of making you care for both of them. It does so many things. It really kind of takes its time getting to some of the scary stuff and lets you kind of get to know these characters first, which I really appreciated. It's because when shit starts to hit the fan later, you care and you're pulling for these guys, and you really have this emotional connection with them, and it's awesome. I think that, and their performances speak volumes to that. I think it was really fun seeing them together early in the movie, and I actually thought that Madeline McGraw, the sister character you saw in the trailer, I thought she was a major standout in this thing. She was a joy to watch. She did such a good job.
I had a dream about it. Please let the dreams be real.
We can't talk about the characters without talking about Ethan Hawke, though, man. This guy is one creepy mofo in this thing. He delivers us what's going to be surely an iconic freaking horror villain, man. This is one of the best new horror villains I've seen in the genre in quite some time, in years, really stands out. He's creepy as a mofo. He's definitely scarier than Pennywise, going back to that It comparison. And what's really cool about him is as the movie progresses, you're asking these questions in your mind about him, about his backstory and all this other stuff. It presents these questions to you, but it doesn't answer them all, which I think is awesome. I like being able to leave the theater with more questions about our villain here than answers. I don't want to know every detail about his backstory. We don't need that. We want to keep some element of mystique alive within him, and they do that perfectly in this movie.
I made you some breakfast.
What'd you put in that?
Salt and pepper.
A couple other things. I want to throw out a shout out to the score. Mark Corvin coming in. Very creepy freaking music in this thing. Ribbon, I mean, it does kind of remind you of Sinister at times, coming from Scott Derrickson, of course, as well. It's not the same composer. Mark Corvin's the one. He did The Witch, The Lighthouse, and a couple things like that with Robert Eggers. We know his music. We like his music. It's good stuff. It's no different here. It's really creepy and adds to the atmosphere of the movie. So I think you're going to like that as well. The plot is very simple. It's not over convoluted like I thought it could be watching the trailer. I thought it could, it could go a lot of different directions and be really weird and crazy. And it's not. It's really just it's pretty simple and straightforward. And the pacing alongside that is fantastic. I think it goes by really fast. It comes in under 2 hours, and you're constantly on the edge of your seat the entire time, wondering what's going to happen. So I really appreciated that. There's really no slow moments. There's really no moments of the movie that don't make sense. One of the critiques you have in Sinister is like, it kind of pulls a 180 at one point. And you have this whole scene with Ethan Hawke running around in the house with the lights off and little fuckers chasing him around and stuff. You don't really get that here. And alongside that, with the jump scares and stuff, they weren't. I mean, of course, you saw a few in the trailer. There's a couple jump scares in here, but they're all earned. They all do a really good job. They add to the story. They're not forced in here. They're not doing crazy stuff. There's really not a lot of negatives I have for the movie, to be honest with you. I mean, a couple little nitpicks. It's not as scary as I thought it would be, which is fine. It's definitely still creepy as hell. It's creepy as a mofo. Like it's got a lot going for it. Again, this is a nitpick. I thought it might be a little bit more scary than it ended up being. And really comparing it again to Sinister, which isn't really fair. Just because it's the same director doesn't mean it can really be compared apples to apples. But really, it's not. I don't think it's going to be quite as rewatchable as Sinister. Not because it's bad. Again, this is nitpicks here, ladies and gents. It's not bad, not because it's bad, not because it's slow, even because it's not. Because of the intrigue of the story is you following this child, trying to navigate his way through this situation, and you're finding things out as he's finding things out. I don't know if it's going to keep that intrigue as much on second and subsequent watches beyond that, just because you already know what's going to happen, you already know what he's going to find out, you already know all the secrets, all the twists, all the turns. So it's like it's super like it's definitely an edge of your seat thriller the first time because you're like zoned in trying to figure out what's going to happen. Again, I haven't seen it twice yet. I plan on it. I'm definitely going to see it again. I just don't know after you watch this thing 3 or 4 times if it's going to keep you on your edge of your seat like it always it did the first time. Obviously, it won't because that's not the way rewatches work. But you know what I mean. Again, nitpicks here. That's really all I can say about it. I think overall it's a fantastic flick. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. I'm going to give it a 4.75 here today, just at the top of that freaking Yippee Ki Yay scale. But of course, we'll be doing another review when the other boys see it. So looking forward to it. We'll see if my thoughts change between now and then. But I think it was great. I think it was awesome. If any of you guys saw it last night, let me know down in the comment sections what you thought about the Black Phone. Keep the spoilers to a 0. I was going to say minimum, but no spoilers in the comment section, please, because we don't want to spoil it for anybody because it's not out yet. But once it comes out, let's talk about it some more, man. I'm stoked about it. I'm really excited about some of the horror we've been getting this year, man. It's been awesome. A lot of good original stuff, new stuff, and I cannot get enough of it. This is just another one to add to the list, and we're racking up for a freaking sexy as hell 2022, baby. Anyway, I'm out of here. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Letterboxd, and Twitter. Those links are for you to find down below. Like this page, comment down below, subscribe, all that fun stuff, because we want to see you around, and we're going to be having some fun later, and always, essentially. Anyway, see you later. Peace out.